It's finally official. Ilia Topuria is finally making his lightweight debut against former champion Charles Oliveira in what's set to headline International Fight Week UFC 317. And this is going to be for the vacant title as Islam Makhachev vacated his belt, moving up to fight against Jack Della Maddalena. So this is why Topuria versus Oliveira will not end well. So lightweight is about to have a new champion, either Ilia Topuria or Charles Oliveira. This one is gonna be fireworks. Both guys bring it every time. Some may say that Charles Oliveira is undeserving of this title shot, only beating Michael Chandler very recently, and other than that, losing to Arman Tsarukyan on UFC 300, beating Beneil Dariush. But it seemed like they weren't going to give Arman that title shot after he pulled out of that fight against Islam Makhachev, and the UFC seemed to have punished him as they said they would when that happened. So this is the best lightweight title fight you can make right now if you're not going to put Arman in the mix. And this is a banger of a fight. Both guys that always go for the finish. Charles Oliveira with the most finishes in the UFC as a whole. Ilia Topuria coming off of stopping and finishing two of the greatest featherweights of all time in Alexander Volkanovski and Max Holloway, being the first guy to actually put Max Holloway away and dent that iron chin. So Ilia has so much momentum moving up to lightweight. He says this is his destiny, and honestly it's hard to doubt him after what he's been doing recently. And I think you could say for sure that someone is gonna get stopped here. Both guys definitely don't go out there looking to hear the final bell. Yeah, this is guaranteed to be fireworks, and I just can't see this not ending up in a finish for one of these guys. Both of them have some of the most crazy highlights in the UFC, crazy finish rate, as Charles Oliveira pretty much finishes every opponent he's faced. And like you're saying, Ilia Topuria has this crazy momentum, knocking out some of the greatest fighters of all time, especially at featherweight. So this is guaranteed to be a banger of fight. It's going to be a massive one, and an amazing consolation for, at least right now, us not being able to see Islam versus Ilia. Who knows what happens in the future, but right now that's looking like it's not going to be happening. Both guys on a different path at this point, and regardless what reasons you want to say for it, this is the fight we have now, and it's still a very great one. Charles Oliveira trying to become two-time lightweight champion, and is still very much a game opponent, even though he lost to Arman Tsarukyan in a very close fight though, where he almost finished him at some points. So Charles is still very elite, but I can't help but think that stylistically, this is a very, very tough one for Charles against Ilia. We see Charles Oliveira is very hittable striking-wise, and his overall striking defense isn't too great. We know how amazing he is on the offensive striking. He has great power, especially for lightweight, and has amazing tools and techniques at his disposal. But we've seen him get hurt so many times now, even throughout his title reign, against the likes of Justin Gaethje, Michael Chandler, Islam Makhachev. And it seems like almost at every fight at some point he gets rocked, he gets hurt. Of course, the greatness of Charles is him being able to come back from that adversity and win the fight after that typically. But in this case, with how elite Ilia is, and him being able to put away opponents on the feet with his heavy pressure boxing style, mixing up with combinations to the body, to the head, it just seems like a deadly, deadly fight for Charles, and a very, very bad stylistic matchup. And it's hard to even give out the argument to say that Ilia doesn't have power at lightweight, because we have seen him at lightweight even at short notice. Sure, he did get dropped in that fight, but he came back and knocked out Jai Herbert devastatingly. So we know he definitely still has power. And to run Ilia's on, it's just hard to see him not catching Charles and being able to put him away, which is unfortunate because both of these guys are such huge fan favorites. But by no means is that saying that Charles doesn't have a chance here, because he is very deadly as well. Yeah, the thing is, Oliveira has been at lightweight for so long, and while he is a former featherweight as well, he is even struggling to make lightweight at some points, even losing his belt on the scales. That's how his original title reign ended. You may think Oliveira was the champion going into that Makhachev fight, but he actually officially wasn't. They were fighting for a vacant title there. He lost his belt to the scales, but Oliveira in his last fight definitely showed how well-rounded he actually is. The offensive wrestling. Sure, Michael Chandler definitely not the greatest opponent, and even Paddy Pimblett kind of dealt with him easy, but Oliveira still looks solid. He is still one of the greatest lightweights in the world right now, and of all time, even being a former champion. And out of these guys, 61 fights in MMA as a whole, only 8 times have they ever heard the final bell went the distance. And with how these guys fight stylistically, how they clash, how they match up, it just screams fireworks. Definitely going to be action-packed. Both guys are going to be hunting a finish. Charles Oliveira's best key to victory definitely is trying to catch Topuria in a submission, even though Topuria has fought elite BJJ guys and stayed away from those submissions like Ryan Hall, but this is a completely different level than that. Oliveira can mixing it well and is very proven in MMA, having the most submissions in UFC history. It's not like Oliveira's bad on the feet. He has great kicks. He's very fundamentally sound, but against Ilia Topuria, I don't see how well he matches on the feet, especially because, like you said, how hittable he has been in so many of his fights. Even recently against Michael Chandler in that 5th round, got rocked a little bit. And if Oliveira's getting dropped by the likes of Justin Gaethje, Michael Chandler, if Ilia Topuria drops you, he's gonna pounce. He's gonna lay it all on you, and his crisp boxing combinations, how he's able to cut off the cage, find the shot, find the button, it could spell disaster for Oliveira, and I feel like he could get knocked out if he does end up in that situation. But stylistically, head to head, these guys are guaranteed to make for a banger fight. I honestly can't wait, even though we don't get the Islam Makhachev versus Ilia Topuria fight that most wanted, and I honestly just wanted to see so badly. This is a great replacement for that, and this one has so many intangibles and so many ways it could go depending on how each guy looks going into the fight. Oliveira did just go the distance against Michael Chandler, but honestly I think someone's gonna get knocked out, and I do definitely think it is more likely for Oliveira to. We've only seen Topuria rocked, like you said, in that Jai Herbert fight from a head kick, which Oliveira has great head kicks. He knocked out Beneil Dariush with one, but when you talk about their overall striking game, it's hard to see how Oliveira puts Topuria away, even with the size advantage, even being used to being at lightweight, even with the great wins that he has on his resume. I'd probably favor Topuria. He has the youth. Stylistically, this could be very big trouble for Oliveira, but you can never count him out. He's come through adversity so many times in his career, his whole life pretty much, from the Bronx, and he's been labeled a quitter in the past, the guy who doesn't show heart, who doesn't actually want it, and then come back and became a champion, so you definitely cannot count out Charles. Yeah, and this is most likely Charles Oliveira's last chance at a title if he loses this fight, being 35 years old and already having quite a bit of opportunities in the UFC. And you've got to think with age, maybe he's going to start to decline a little bit, unfortunately, because he's just taken a lot of damage in his career, and he's had a bunch of fights in his career as well. But this is a history-making moment for him, and of course also for Ilia. If he is able to win this fight, that's another legend, former champion on the resume for him, being still undefeated. If he's able to knock him out, another finish over a legend as well. And that would make him a 2-weight world champion. First at featherweight, got a title defense there as well. Now at lightweight, claiming the belt, and he would really be doing historic things here. And you gotta think maybe timeline-wise, if Ilia wins that belt, maybe he'll fight against Islam next, or if still not, then there's probably Arman Tsarukyan if he wins his next fight. And at lightweight, there's still a lot of guys going out the door, but a lot of guys coming in too. Most notably, a rivalry with Ilia is Paddy Pimblett. If he's able to claim a few more wins, that would be a huge fight. Ilia said that's one of the fights he wants most in his career, and it would definitely be massive if Paddy can make it to the top 3 of the division. So there's a lot of excitement for Ilia and a lot of legacy to be built here. And of course for Charles too, this is a legacy defining fight. So that's why this fight is just so amazing. Both sides have so much to gain, so much to lose, and it's really gonna be a banger no matter what. We're for sure gonna see a finish. Surely it's gotta happen. So let us know down below who you think wins between Ilia Topuria and Charles Oliveira at UFC 317.